Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have the gorgeous Suzanne, and basically what we're doing is I'm demonstrating one of my favorite makeup looks. This is almost like a tiny masterclass and update on my makeup routine, and this will be the perfect opportunity also to display and showcase my new brand Fatal Tools. Whenever I'm creating a look, I always analyze the model's face. So I'm looking at her features, I'm looking at her cheeks, I'm looking at the areas where it hits the light. And that's a very important keynote, as well as looking at the skin color, texture, so you can match everything perfectly. These are actually the most important parts in every gorgeous makeup look you see. You can always have fun with the eyes and the makeup look itself, but skin is extremely, extremely important. So when I'm looking at Suzanne first, I am looking at a more of a kind of neutral to golden skin tone. And you can see that the golden hits actually almost like a contour in her face naturally. And the bronze and the tan, well, slight tan, comes actually across the shoulders area more. So we kind of have to tone almost the face. When I started doing beauty photography, I always kind of learned also the importance of retouching, so that kind of adapted to my makeup as well. So the first part actually will be toning down the skin to match the neck, and that way we don't have to apply a lot of foundation. I am proud to introduce my upcoming brand, or actually my new brand, Fatal Tools. And when I created this line, I wanted to introduce a very specific and a custom designed beauty sponge that you can use for basically everything. So when you're looking at this design, it's basically like a beauty droplet or a blood drop. The reason being is when I created this sponge, I've always found it a bit hard to have something that enters the crevices of the face and the eye, so to actually create more details. And I absolutely love this when it comes to skin prep and complexion, and I'm going to show you guys how I use it. Once the sponge is damp, actually it becomes much fluffier and large in size, so you have the option to actually use it either dry or kind of wet, and it's really soft on the skin and it feels really, really great. So I'm going to utilize it first as my skin prep tool. I'm going to start off with just a hydrating mist, and I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Hydrator Mist. I absolutely love this one. It feels amazing. So I'll just prep the nozzle a bit. Afterwards, I'll go with my favorite moisturizer and eye cream. I always loved the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I've been using it for years. The eye cream, I love the Estee Lauder Advanced Night Eye Repair Cream. It's a long name. But honestly, any eye cream will do if it's hydrating. Just make sure it doesn't affect or kind of does not collide with your concealer. I always love using kind of disposables when it comes to applying skincare, because I think it's essential to not double dip in your products, and that's kind of like a key factor that I had to learn the hard way during my career as a makeup artist, because bacteria is a mean bitch. And it's, you know, a lot of makeup artists don't really, well, not a lot, but inexperienced makeup artists might not focus on that part. Now with a clean disposable tool as well, I'm just going to warm up the product ever so slightly here and make sure to get a really good amount of the magic cream. I need her face to almost feel like a glazed donut. And the reason being is that I want a lot of slip in the makeup, and that's how you get this beautiful glow in the skin. Suzanne was just complaining about something that she always witnesses when it comes to
yeah, the body glitter just never really removes. Like, it's gonna take me 2 weeks. People are gonna think I have not showered, and I'm telling them that I did. I swear I did. I did it several times, but it just wanders down. At some point I'm just gonna find it on my leg, on my toe, until it actually removes.
I mean, as a model, it's a struggle to kind of deal with different products from different makeup artists.
And like, it just adds on every day, because I've had 8 shoots now within 7 days.
Oh God.
Like, been a lot.
Bless your heart.
And every day it was like body glitter added on top of the rest amount that I had from the day before. Just like a disco ball at this point.
I personally love to use something like more oil-based if I want to add a glow, because I feel like it washes off easily, and even when it comes to like applying it on your body, it just feels a bit more lightweight. Some people might be afraid of the tip because it looks so kind of intimidating, but actually like it's extremely soft underneath the eye.
Yeah, it feels really good.
Especially if you're kind of like, you know, sharpening inner corners and like concealer. That's kind of like the point of it. So if you guys are afraid that this will kind of like pierce your eye, it's not going to. Now I'm gonna hydrate the lips with like a very lightweight lip mask. And I always tend to keep this on until like almost we're ready to apply a lipstick, a lip liner. I feel like it makes sure that the lips are fully hydrated and kind of like ready for any heavy lipstick, especially if you're using liquid lipsticks. Hydrating the lips is important.
Or like matte, you need hydrated lips
matte,
for that.
yes. What I personally love to tone the skin with is maybe like a slightly tinted moisturizer that has a bit of like tanning in it. Not a permanent tan, but something with a bit of color. I absolutely love the By Terry T2 Tan Face and Body. This is like hydrating bronzer spray. So this one is actually extremely lightweight and will give you also a beautiful glow. So I'll do one side so you guys can see the difference. So that's kind of how it looks. Looks a bit like doo-doo. So I'll just kind of like blend it in with my sponge, and I'll do one side so you guys can see. What this will do, it will really tone down the skin slightly, so not too much. It takes like about a minute or two to kind of adjust to the skin and actually show how it looks. But now, as you guys can see, there is a bit of like almost natural, very slightly natural tan. I know it seems minor, but that's a very important key point. So you don't have to even worry about matching like the skin complexion to the neck area. Now I'm gonna go with a face glow, and this is the Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury in number 2.5. And as you guys can see, I really do take my time when it comes to skin prep because honestly, it does make a huge difference in the final outcome. So again, using a disposable wand. So it's just gonna reflect your natural glowy skin without anything to disturb it. So you can either mix it up with foundation or apply it on its own. Now I'm gonna go back to my fully abused sponge to just kind of blend this in.
Goes into these corners because the round part is just like too big, like to go in.
And this is what I would call a pretty much ready complexion for skin correcting foundation concealer. Color correcting, and I'm using the Magic Eraser from Charlotte Tilbury. This is in number 2, which is like a really nice salmon peachy shade. And I'm gonna go with my Fatal 11 brush. It's a big, fluffy kind of blending brush, and I love using it to kind of color correct and kind of like just do minor touch-ups. You can still use this for the eye, but it's really, really nice, especially under the eyes. I don't want to do a lot of color correction because I honestly love just the natural darkness underneath Cézanne's eyes, and I will utilize it actually for my smoky eye. So I don't have to color correct the whole eye. I can see some mascara residue from your previous client.
Oh my god, and I swear I tried so much. Even in the morning, still like with the Q-tip.
In the smile line area, just to lift the color a little bit here. So just like a really light application of color correcting just to even things a bit more. I want to bring back the beautiful flush in a very natural way. Keep in mind, this is all before any foundation and concealer. I love to use this. This is the Drunk Elephant Rosy Drops, which is a blush moisturizer. So it's very, very lightweight. It's not heavy. So I'm gonna add like a generous amount of it. Hit the areas where her natural skin kind of like flush. So it brings in a very natural, very faint hue of like the rosy tint in the skin. So it doesn't look all one color because you need that natural base. Now, when it comes to the complexion, this is a very debatable topic, especially when it comes on what to use on your face, liquid, cream, whatever. I still prefer a more creamy, medium coverage foundation base because I don't like to apply a lot of foundation personally. I still love this Makeup Forever palette. I'm pretty sure it's discontinued at this point. I did stack up on a lot of these. You can still pretty much use their new ones. They're still great. I just love that this one includes all the colors. So when it comes to foundation, I never stick to one shade. I always go with multiple shades to adjust to the skin tone. So you'll see me go with a more kind of lighter golden shade here, a more bronzy shade here. For example, if I were to take this peachy shade right here, this is a brand new palette, and if I were to take a more golden tone right here, it matches more the area down below. Now, you might not see it as obvious on camera. Now, let me go with a much more darker shade right here, and I apply it right here. I'm not gonna blend it too much. You can see this one pretty much fades into the sides of the skin, but then bringing the peachy shade a bit in the center gives a very light gradient into this area. So I always like to kind of see the client's or the model's face. What are the tones that are dominant in their skin? So for Suzanne, it's golden with a bit of kind of peachy salmon areas. And that's what I'm gonna go with. Now, for this palette specifically, I'm gonna double dip in it because I'm gonna give it to Suzanne so I don't have to worry about cleaning it up later. First, I'm gonna use my Fatal Tool sponge. I'm gonna take a bit of both, slightly soften it on my hand, and that's when I'm gonna just push the product into the skin. You can even start introducing a more lighter tone, especially if you want to erase certain shadows in the face.
What is the difference blending-wise if you blend with synthetic or with real hair?
So synthetic is technically recommended for everything, right? Powder, liquid. Real hair is definitely recommended for powder use. So blush, bronzer. It can be for liquid and cream, but because imagine your real hair is being used in a cream product. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna see these kind of function amazingly when it comes to powder and blush. Now I wanna add this beautiful blushy glow on the skin, and I wanna go a bit ham on it. And I love using these light wands from Charlotte Tilbury. And I also love mixing it with the Rare Beauty ones. The Rare Beauty is a bit too intense, so I kind of tend to use this mostly as like a pigment intensifier. But these ones are absolutely amazing, minus the annoying sponge tip that they add. So I always...
Oh, me too. I ripped it apart.
I rip them. Yeah. But I think even just doing it as a squeeze tube is much easier, see? Like, that makes much more sense. Hello? Are you alive?
Sometimes it's gonna like squeeze out.
Okay. Gonna take just a small amount of this peachy shade from Rare Beauty. This is just gonna give me more pigment, honestly. Just slightly. And what I love to do with concealer is apply two shades. So one shade that is almost Suzanne's skin tone, so not lighter, not darker, exactly her skin shade. So I'm gonna go with like a medium tone golden shade, and I'm gonna apply that technically more than the lighter shade afterwards. Again, I don't wanna do too much. So just these areas, slightly to the forehead, kind of the center of the face and slightly in the smile lines area. Afterwards, I'll go with a more kind of light peachy shade. So again, the same kind of principle of the foundation, but this one will lift color instead of just like evening out skin in the kind of further away area from the darker shades. Carve things a bit more. You can just do a slight, really slight, so not like a drag makeup effect, but like more like a very light thin line, just like that. Now, as you guys can see, the two colors will kind of merge into each other into one shade, but it will not look kind of unified to the point where it looks fake. I want it to look just as natural like the skin. Again, I don't want this area to be like fully heavy underneath the eye. I still kind of like a bit of shadow underneath. That makes your face look much more human, to be honest. And it will complement any like gorgeous eye look that you do nicely without looking like you're wearing cement on your face. And that's basically where I know that I'm done with the complexion when it comes to creams and liquids. Setting the face with powders. Now, I was just earlier telling Suzanne that I'm not a huge fan of loose powder. I like kind of something more compact to kind of control. And I don't set the whole face. So if I want to set the bronzer, I will set it with a powder bronzer. The blush, I will set it with a powder blush. The areas where they are not blushy, I will set them with a compact. So that way, you're not adding layers and layers and layers on top of each other. To set the face, I love to use a kind of light reflecting powder. This is from Hourglass. It's their ambient lights. So I'm gonna go with my Fatal 3 brush, which is like a pointy dome brush. And I absolutely love this when it comes to applying powder under the eye and like specific detail areas. So I'm gonna take kind of like a medium amount, make sure that the under eyes are fully kind of blended in and there are no creases. So just ever so slightly with the point, I'm just blending in any tiny creases and then immediately setting them with the powder. Now, I don't want to take this all the way. I just want to set the under eye area slightly. Now, if you want a veil of this, which I always love to use at the end, I would personally always prefer to use my Fatal 3 brush when it comes to details, when it comes to the face. If you guys are a fan of like a veil of powder effect on the skin, I will show you something that I'm super proud of. One of my proudest creations is Fatal 6, which is my quill brush. Now, when you first actually get this brush, it does look kind of pointy, like a quill. When you wash this one, it looks so feathery and light. So when you're adding it to the skin, it's like super soft. And it's, in a way, it's obnoxiously long, which is kind of what I wanted. I'll take this away from you so I don't bother you with it. And what this will do, hit every single detail and crevice of the skin without disturbing your base. Now, this is something that I've always struggled with when it comes to makeup brushes, is I will have a beautiful, like a bronzing brush, and for example, when I'm applying it all over the face, it does sometimes move the way I do my makeup because I keep it always creamy. So it always disturbs or leave marks. This one is like literally a feather.
Very random thought, but for the Harry Potter fans, it looks like the Nimbus 2000 when it's still like with the wax or whatever is on it. Big Harry Potter fan over here.
I really haven't thought about that. Now I cannot remove it out of my head.
See it, right?
It does. So now the face is almost set, but it's not set with a matte powder. It's set with a light reflecting, lightweight powder. So I'm gonna show you guys kind of like the sister of this brush, which is Fatal 5. This is Fatal 6. As you guys can see, Fatal 6 is much longer and pointier than Fatal 5. So this one, think of it as a veil of an application. This one is a bit more detailed. So when I'm taking like the bronzy shade right here, I can really control where I want to deposit the product. And I'm applying like a really light layer, so it's not heavy at all. You can even bring in some of the lighter shades and kind of hit the cheekbone with it. So this is the part where I'm basically setting my kind of like cream blush, bronzer, whatever I'm using, just to make everything kind of merged together. Now, when it comes to blush, I love to kind of mix two of my brushes. So this is Fatal 2, which is just a fluffy dome kind of packing brush, I would say. It's slightly fluffier than Fatal 1, and I love to kind of mix the two, to be honest. So first I'll go with Fatal 5. So I'll also bring these kind of like light reflecting blushes. So I'll go between like a peachy shade and kind of like a bronzy shade, because I don't want it to be too heavy, just like so. And if you wanted a more of a punch of an effect, then you would definitely go with a more denser brush. Taking the blush slightly under the eye and into the eyes as well. If you want to define kind of like the contours of the face and give it a bit more depth, Fatal 4 is definitely your girl, because it's like fully packed, domed. It's also kind of the sister of Fatal 3, but Fatal 3 is more pointy and a bit light than this one. This one is like much more dense. So you could use it with a blush if you really want to go ham on the skin. But if you want that kind of like chiseled effect, I personally love to mix the two together. And when it comes to real hair bristles, you basically just let them do the job for you. You don't have to be really a master at blending, because they just immediately blend everything. If you're a fan of that like chiseled cheek moment, the sponge will do an amazing job. If you can look this way for me, please. Now I'll go back to my Fatal 3 brush and just slightly soften the area. So these are the Fatal 6 eye set. They're all blending brushes, and I've created almost like a family of eye brushes, because I've always struggled whenever I bought a brush set or ended up buying brush sets or brushes in general for blending. I always bought duplicates. I never found a set that's just perfect when it comes to blending, from like big to small to a bit pointy. So all of these will help to create the most perfect and seamless blended eye look. So as a base for the eye, I'm gonna go with a mix of two kind of creamy or liquid products, if you will. This is Walk of No Shame from Charlotte Tilbury, which is one of my favorite cream eyeshadows, and I'm gonna mix it with Burgundy Shimmer from House Lab. The combination of these two shades is absolutely gorgeous, and I'll show you guys how to use it. So I'll take a generous amount of the creamy shade, and I'll mix with it slightly the Burgundy Shimmer from House Lab. I'll make sure to blend the two colors. To pack the color in, I'll take my Fatal 7 brush, a generous amount. Just look down for me, please. Yes. And I'll just pack it generously on the lid. Going with my Fatal 9 brush, which is a blending, kind of like medium blending brush, and slightly diffusing the edges. I technically want to diffuse all the lines. I don't want to see any kind of lines in here. Taking a bit more into the other eye. Even bringing that color a bit in the under eyes as well, like kind of like in the outer corner area right here. And this is when I was telling you guys about keeping the under eyes natural, because now it matters when I'm blending this color to actually create for me a base to blend in this shade. Now going into my Fatal 11 brush, I'm just diffusing any edges from this side just to make sure that everything is blended and diffused. And this is a cream base. We haven't entered the kind of like powder and shimmer yet. Now I want to take a creamy brown pencil. This is from Lisa Eldridge. Further define the outer corner of the eye and kind of like make it a bit more winged out. So what I'll do is slowly kind of bring that color from the inside almost halfway or a bit in the kind of outer corner area and just slightly bring it forward. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to, look amazing because we're going to basically blend it. And I'm going to take my Fatal 10 brush, which is like the eye kind of small dome detail one. And basically just start feathering this into the eye and into the outer corner. I'm also going to take some of the pencil and just slightly rub it in underneath the eye. It can be messy. It's all part of the process, so just trust the process. Now for detail crease, I want to kind of deepen in the crease and the outer corner a bit. So I'm going to show you guys the Fatal 12, the pointy one. And after kind of softening this brush, it basically becomes a much more softer blending quill. So if you use it with cream or liquid, it will always be pointy like that, like almost a paintbrush. You simply just start pushing it with your fingers and kind of slightly start to soften the bristles, and it immediately becomes fluffy and ready to use. So it's extremely soft and it will still kind of hold that beautiful point on the eye. So for that one, I'll go with something like a kind of deep burnt red shade like that one. And this is one of my favorite kind of eyeshadow multi-use. This is from Hindash. I deposited all of them into this kind of magnetic palette. Start sketching and deepening where I want. And this is where this brush really hits the sweet spot, because you can either really focus on detailing the crease, or you can really wing out kind of an outer corner situation right here without having some harsh edges. So the blending actually does the job for you. So because this is tapered and kind of quill-like, the outer corner here will act like a kind of blending support, while the tip itself will give you that beautiful color deposit. So when I'm blending this brush into the crease, it will basically define the crease beautifully and not disturb the actual base that I added. So even when I'm blending outer corner right here, it does the job immediately for you. And because we have a cream base, it will adhere to the powder really, really well. So as you guys can see, I will just simply start blending with the tip. And even if I want to define the crease, you can even put it sideways like that. And it will basically literally do the job for you. Now to bring in like more of a wet effect on the lids, I love this shadow from Urban Decay. I'm pretty sure this is Space Cowboy. So if you guys have used this before, you know that this only works with fingers because it almost has like a wet finish. So I'll show you how it does with Fatal 7, which is the packing blending brush. So I'll fully coat it in, and I'm not gonna dust anything away from the brush. I'll keep it as it is because it has a gorgeous amount of pickup. And I'll basically just graze it on the lids. just like so. And what this will do, this will add a really nice wet effect without looking too much. I mean, I still want it to look too much, but this is kind of like the base that I'm gonna do first.
I always know the glitter kind of falling
Yes,
down.
absolutely. I'll show you something now. If we were not doing a tutorial, I would have brought in like a basic synthetic brush, and you can see how it dusts everything. So for example, going with colors like that, which are like super shimmery. So I have this beautiful palette from Adept Cosmetics, and they're super gorgeous shadows. However, they have so much glitter and shine inside them that eventually there will be fallout. So I'm just gonna go with this shade right here. So as you guys can see, that pickup on it is absolutely insane. So what I'm gonna do is something that you probably don't see makeup artists do, which is not dust away the shadow. I wanna straight deposit it onto her eyes because I wanna show you how much it picks up and how much it deposits. So first I'm gonna lay the color, and I'll just drag it. Now I haven't blended it yet, but I want to show you that there will be zero fallout using this brush. I'll go back with deepening the crease even more because I don't want that darkness to kind of fade away. I still want to keep that dark kind of like smoky style. Taking the Fatal 6 brush and just simply dusting away the under eye. So now I added a bit of individual lashes, very, very natural to kind of match the heaviness of the eye. I didn't want to add too many lashes, just something subtle. We brushed the brows and she looks absolutely stunning, ready to take the stage, as we say. I'm just gonna go in with more of the reflecting powder just to kind of dust everything away and make sure that everything looks perfect and ready for the lips. So I'm taking this brown artist pencil, the shade Limitless Brown, and I'm just outlining the actual shape of the lips. I wanted something to be a bit dramatic as the outline because this one is basically going to be ombre out with MAC's Cool Spice. And a trick to create that perfect ombre look, yes, it does look dramatic in the beginning, but once you add the lipstick and blend everything it will make much more sense. Now I'm taking Super Fabulous from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm simply just dabbing in the color in the center and blending in that lip line shade. I'll take a bit of concealer, just a little bit, and kind of apply it in the center to lighten up the lipstick shade and bring that ombre back again. Now to top this look and give it that final touch, I'm taking the Kaleidos lip gloss in Free Fall. It is like transparent with silver sparkle, so it really adds a subtle but cool effect on the lips. It just looks so glistening. And that's basically how you get this gorgeous signature look of mine. It's very dramatic, slightly glam, slightly goth, slightly ready for the runway. Just adding this final beautiful glow on the body just to continue everything and make everything more seamless. And that's how you get this beautiful, gorgeous look. Thank you, Suzanne, so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I
really appreciate you being here, honestly, and I cannot wait to do more work with you.
Can't wait to see you again.
I
It
hope
was
so.
amazing. Honestly, I had so much fun.
My pleasure. All right, we'll see you guys probably in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this video.